Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with the longest war. This is our series of Warhammer 40,000 battle reports. This is battle report number 12. It is a 1,000 point battle that was fought between my friend King Khalifa with his Necromunda Penal Corps with his 1,000 point Astra Militar army versus yours truly, Commander CheapSkate, with my Thalassa Prime Watch of my 1,000 point Deathwatch army. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go with some good old fashioned Imperial onto Imperial type action. We are playing a Scourge scenario, so this is the very first battle report that we are actually using command points. We're also using objectives. We're also using the scenarios in the game. For the last few months, my friends and I have been learning how to play this game at 1,000 points. Now we're adding the next layer of sophistication as well as difficulty to this game with objectives and command points as well. We'll be using command points from both the codexes for the new Deathwatch codex as well as the new Astra Militarum codex for 8th edition, so we'll be kind of interested to see exactly how those stratagems as well as one of those command points work, so we're looking forward to that as well. And of course, after we get done playing a couple of rounds of this, we'll move on to much larger battles, including up to 1,500 points, maybe up to 2,000 points, depending on where our armies are located at. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what our armies are taking for this one, please feel free to pause and to check it out for your own leisure. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this on. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to talk about the scenario rules real quick. We are playing on a 4x6 table. I am deployed on the near side of the table while my opponent, King Khalifa, will be deployed on the far side of the table. And the scenario that we are playing is called the Scouring, is what it's called. Basically, the idea is all about taking and holding different objective points. Scattered throughout the battlefield, 3 on my side and 3 on my opponent's deployment area, are 6 objective points. Amongst those 6 objective points, there is a superior objective, which is worth 4 victory points, and an inferior objective, which is worth 1 point. And the other 4 remaining objectives are worth 2 points apiece for victory points. And we're just going to play it randomly. We're not going to know what kind of objectives we secured until the end of the battle report. We'll roll off dice to see exactly who got a superior objective and who got an inferior objective, so that way it makes it a little bit more interesting. Also, aside from just securing the objective points, we also got 2 new rules as well. We have Slay the Warlord. If anybody slays the enemy warlord for the other guy's army, they earn themselves 1 victory point for doing that, and same thing with Line Breaker. If any element of our armies ends up in our opponent's deployment area, we get 1 victory point for that. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, with the scenario rules over with, let's go and talk about the battle plan and talk about where the objectives are located at. Alright, so that being said, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. As you can see, my forces are deployed on the near side of the table. My opponent, King Khalifa, is deployed on the far side. We both have 3 objectives in our deployment areas, 1 on each flank and 1 also in the center of our deployment zones. And as you can see, I am vastly outnumbered by the Imperial Guard forces on this one as well. I'm fighting against a much larger army. My Deathwatch guys are Space Marines, so Space Marine armies are typically kind of small, but because these guys are special operators, like Special Forces type Space Marines, my units are even smaller than the ones that he has as well. So because of that, I have to really concentrate my forces for the most part. Pretty much what my plan is, as you can see, most of my forces are deployed there on the right-hand flank of my deployment area. My plan is to move up the right-hand flank, try to secure the objective that's located in the MCI office tower, as well as those chemical towers right there on the right-hand side, and hopefully sweep over to the left-hand flank and try to secure objectives that way. My plan is to make my opponent fight defensively, so that way he can't really maneuver around the battlefield and secure any objectives, and I can enter his area and hopefully take his objectives as well. That way I can earn the line breaker ability as well as any victory points from any objectives I control. Same thing if I get to kill his enemy general as well, so hopefully I can kill him and net those command points as well. The only real big concern I have is actually being completely surrounded by my enemy. He's got a very heavy left-hand flank. That's where most of his infantry forces are located at, and I have nothing there to answer for it, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how it works. So that's pretty much the plan I have on this one, and that's pretty much the scheme as well. Alright, so let's go and talk about where the objective is located at. This objective number 1 is located on my left-hand flank for my Deathwatch deployment area. Objective number 2 is located right in the middle of my deployment area as well, so here's a close-up of that photo. And lastly, objective number 3 is located on my very far left-hand flank right on top of the MCI water tower here on my right-hand side, and that makes it the 3 objective points on my deployment area. Meanwhile, objective number 4 is located right in the right-hand flank of the Imperial Guard deployment area. As you can see, it's right on the top of the chemical towers there for the MCI office tower, right on the right-hand flank. Objective number 5 is located right in the middle of the Imperial Guard deployment area as well, so that one's going to be kind of tough to get to. And finally, objective number 6 is located on the very left-hand side of the Imperial Guard deployment area. That's on the top of that triple-decker Nicaramuda-style tower, located there on the left-hand side. So with all the objectives marked out, let's go and talk about deployment, talk about where all of our forces are located at. Alright, so starting with the deployment over here on the right hand side, I decided to focus most of my kill teams right here on the right hand flank, so that way I can assault across the right hand side against my enemy's lines. On the left hand side, I got Kill Team Kroll. That kill team has got some really diverse weapons located inside that unit. I got a Stalker bolt gun as well as an Infernus heavy flamer. I also have my Terminator with a Melta gun, as a Melta power fist, as well as a heavy flamer there as well. The sergeant's carrying a Xenophase blade, as well as a combo plasma, I'm sorry, having a hard time talking today, and another bolt gun with a power sword as well. On the right hand side, that is Kill Team Dothros. That is led by Sergeant Dothros. He's got a combo melta as well as a storm shield. I also got a couple of guys in there with a Stalker bolt gun and chainsword. I got another Deathwatch veteran who's armed with a bolt gun as well as a chainsword as well. I also got a Vanguard veteran is there who's got twin lightning claws as well as a black shield with twin power swords. And then leading them right in the back, of course, is Captain Artemis, who's the warlord as well. He's got the Vigilance Incarnate warlord trait. And finally, over here on the right-hand side, I have Kill Team Zakeon. That is led by Sergeant Zakeon. He's got a plasma gun as well as a power sword. I also have another Vanguard veteran armed with a chain sword and hand flamer. I also have a frag cannon operator, as well as one guy who's armed with a Stalker bolt gun and chain sword, and I believe another guy's armed with a bolt gun as well as a power sword as well. And then right behind them, of course, is Epistolary Gaius. That's my librarian. He's got 2 of his abilities, of course. He's got the Scourge of the Ancients, I believe. Oh, sorry, Psychic Scourge, as well as Fury of the Ancients, and those are his psychic abilities for my right-hand kill team. And then, of course, off to the side, of course, I've spent 3 of my command points in order to put these 3 units off into the teleportarium, so that way they can teleport into the battlefield later on in my move phase. On the left-hand side, that is Kill Team Cruad. That's led by a Deathwatch Sergeant armed with a Deathwatch shotgun. I got a Black Shield with a heavy Thunderhammer, as well as a Deathwatch veteran armed with a heavy frag cannon and chainsword, as well as a biker armed with a power sword as well. Also in the back there, I have Nihilus, the Black Shield. That is my Dreadnought, Venerable Dreadnought Black Shield. He's armed with the twin last cannons. He's got a Dreadnought Power Fist as well as a heavy flamer. And right on the right hand side, that is Brother Chaplain Cassius, who's armed with a Crozius Arcanum as well as a bolt pistol. And these guys will be teleporting in and kind of being like my wild card unit. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side for the Imperial Guard, as you can see, we have both the first as well as, we have second and third platoon. These are Masons and Marauders, as well as Colts Commandos. I believe Colts Commandos are the guys who are occupying the little triple-decker tower. Those are 3 10-man squads. They're all packing assault weapons, last guns. They have 1 assault weapon each. I believe they're all flamers, as well as 3 last cannons. So very, very dangerous kind of opportunity right there as well. And then, excuse me. On the left-hand side, that is Mason's Marauders, led by Judge Mason, who's also platoon leader as well. He's got the Killjoys, is another 10-man squad armed with last guns, I believe a grenade launcher, as well as the Iron Sights are armed with a flamer, as well as a heavy bolter, and then 7 last guns, and then the jury, which is Riptor's crew. Those guys have I believe a heavy bolter as well as a grenade launcher, and then of course 7 last guns as well. And also in the middle of the mix there is also Judge Darko, which is the of course Commissar to kind of protect these guys as well. So very, very heavy kind of left-hand flank on this side. In the center of his deployment area, protecting his objective located there, that's objective number 5. Right in the back, he's got Commander CheapSkate, which is, of course, my little company commander model that I used to use. He basically kept the same name as well. He's also got 2 of his judges there as well, which are his fire control officers. One is an officer of the fleet, the other one is a master of artillery. Also, he's got 1st Platoon is located there, that's Drake's Destroyers. Up in the center, he's got the Suicide Squad, which is a 10-man veteran team. He's also got 2 6-man special weapons teams. On the left-hand side, he's got his Flamers, and on the left-hand side he's got his plasma guns, 3 plasma guns, 3 last rifles, as well as demolition charges. And on the right-hand flank, he's got 3 Flamers, 3 last guns, as well as 3 demolition charges as well. And also he has his Lord Commissar Judge Fear located in that unit as well. So another really deadly and kind of heavy fire-powered kind of center area. And finally, watching over his right-hand flank, this is 4th Platoon, which is Gosling's Goons. Up in the front, he's got the People Eaters, which is a 20-man conscription squad. Right behind them is Judge Gosling, which is the platoon leader for this unit. And on the top of the MCI Chemical Work Towers, right there, those are the One-Hit Wonders. That is a 6-man special weapons squad, armor 3 sniper rifles, 3 last guns, as well as demolition charges. So here's a close-up shot of my command points for the Deathwatch. As you can see, I originally started off with 6 command points, but I dropped down to 3 in order to put my 3 units into the Teleportarium. So I have 3 command points to play on this scenario. And my opponent, King Khalifa, actually originally started off with 7 command points, but he actually spent 2 of them in order to do a opening bombardment right onto my units right off the bat. So if he rolls any 6s, he causes mortal wounds to my guys, and that is tough. Luckily for me, however, the only shot that got off was on Epistolary Gaius, so because he does lose one of his wounds, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, though, if I'm going to lose a wound anywhere, I'd rather lose one of my characters because they have extra wounds, while my kill teams do not. So with the opening bombardment over with, as well as command points and deployment, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and we roll off for initiative to see who goes first. Alright, since I finished setting up first, I get to go first on this turn, so this is a photo directly after the movement phase. As you can see, I pretty much just start moving up my forces as quickly as possible. I don't run with these guys or advance because I want these guys to be able to shoot. I'm planning on doing some long-range shooting to soften up that conscription area over the right-hand side. Like I said before, my plan is to have my kill teams assault the right-hand flank, take out those conscripts, take over the objective that is located there for objective number 4 at the top of those MCI office towers, so that way I can secure those victory points as well. At the same time I move my forces forward, I also teleport my little kill teams that I put in the teleportarium right in the back center area of the deployment area, just right of that kill team armed with the flamers. Sorry, not the kill team, that special weapon squad armed with flamers. Back there I got Nihilus as well as Brother Chaplain Cassius as well as Kill Team Cruad getting ready to launch some death at the center line of my opponent, so that way I can start securing attacks on his side. So right off the bat, so long as I got forces that can remain on this side, I already achieved their line breaker ability, and if I can kill his warlord in the opening turn, I can slay the warlord objective as well. Here's a close-up of Kill Team Dothros as well as Kill Team Kroll and Watch Captain Artemis making their way across the battlefield to lay down some long-range fire upon the People Eaters. And here's a close-up of Kill Team Cruad, Brother Chaplain Cassius, as well as Nihilus getting ready to put down some long-range fire directly into the center lines of the Imperial Guard, so that way I can assault through and cause some damage that way in close combat. And while we're at it, I also decided to switch up my mission tactics for my units in this area. In case you guys aren't aware, my Brother Chaplain's carrying the Tome of Ectoclades. What it does allows him to change the mission tactics of any units within 6 inches of him. So as you can see in there, I decided to switch over to Dominatus tactics. Originally, all my kill teams have Führer tactics, so that way they can reroll 1s in order to attack their enemies for troop types. But in this one, for Dominatus tactics, it actually allows me to reroll 1s in order to injure elite choices. And since most of my opponent's elite forces right there in the center, it kind of behooves me in order to do that, so that way I can start bringing the pain on that part. So with the movement phase over with, we go directly to the Psychic phase. I managed to take out 3 members of the People Eaters. I used both the Fury of the Ancients as well as Psychic Scourge against this unit and managed to cause 3 mortal wounds in total. So that part's kind of nice because conscripts have very, very low leadership, and hopefully I can bring these guys down and just kind of destroy them that way as well. And also during the shooting phase, the combined fire from Kill Team Zakaon, Kill Team Kroll, Kill Team Dothros, as well as Watch Captain Artemis and my Epistolary Gaius, they managed to cause 12 wounds onto the conscripts race and knocking that group all the way down to almost just a fraction of its size. When the morale phase come up, those probably just scattered because of the amount of losses they took up to this point. So that shooting phase is absolutely devastating. It shows how powerful the Deathwatch really are, especially the way that I kitted out my kill teams for 1,000 points. As you can also see with the shooting phase right here in the back center area for the Astra Militarum. Nihilus was able to destroy the kill team with just Armor 3 Flamers pretty easily. I believe those guys are called Bustin' Nine's crew is what they were called. So I was able to finish those guys off pretty quickly as well. At the same time, the combined fire from Brother Cassius, as well Brother Chaplain Cassius, as well as Kill Team crew was also enough to kill off Judge Fear, which is the Lord Commissar as well. So right off the bat, I've already took out one of his commissars, took out one of his kill teams as well, and that kind of also sets up for a perfect charge. So hopefully, if I'm lucky and can roll really good charge rolls, I can charge directly at the Suicide Squad. Same thing with his general, which is Commander CheapSkate, and hopefully take those guys out as well. Which leads us directly to the charge phase. I apologize for the blurriness of this photo, but as you can see, I sent in Nihilus to go directly into the Suicide Squad, that 10-man veteran squad. So I'm going to engage those guys in close combat. At the same time, Kill Team crew had managed to successfully charge directly into Commander CheapSkate, which is the general of the Imperial Guard unit as well for the Necromunda Penal Corps. So hopefully I'll be able to take those guys out in the fight phase and just kind of kill his general off the bat, which would be really awesome. So with that, we go directly to the combat phase. It's also kind of a portion of the morale phase as well. As you can see, Nihilus managed to kill a huge number of the veteran squad. I believe I managed to kill 7 guys when I ended up doing it. And during the morale phase, those guys the rest of the 3 remaining guys took off for the hills because they just watched a dreadnought just run over their friends and turn into pulpy mulch, which is also pretty awesome as well. At the same time, Kill Team crew had no problem whatsoever killing off Commander CheapSkate of the Penal Corps as well, which is kind of weird because it was like watching me kill my miniature self in avatar form for miniature form. So that was kind of weird, some kind of weird trepidation going on as well. But anyhow, so my buddy King Khalifa loses his Warlord, so I automatically get to slay the Warlord victory points added for my objective, so that was kind of nice. At the same time, also sets up my rest of my kill team as well as my Dreadnought to kind of charge through. If you'll notice as well, Brother Cassius was unable to make it, so because he's still back in the mid-section of the back area of the deployment area, so he's by himself, which could be pretty bad because that means now he can be sniped at because there are none of the units close to him, so that part was kind of bad. Meanwhile, for the morale phase over here in the right-hand flank, so many of those people leaders have gotten killed, the rest of the conscripts just kind of run for the hills because they don't want to be splattered to death by my Deathwatch and their excellent long-range shooting. So with the morale phase over with, we go directly to the bottom. Turn number 2 for the Imperial Guard. Alright, so for the Imperial Guard right in the move phase, as you can see, my buddy King Khalifa starts scrambling his forces a little bit to kind of react to what's going on. I pretty much severed his army into 2 flanks. On one side, he's got his one-hit wonders all by themselves at the top of the MCI chemical work towers on the right-hand flank, and he's also got his 2nd as well as 3rd platoon on the left-hand flank as well. So as you can see here, what he decides to do, he starts mustering his forces. He runs up his Imperial Guard units for the 3rd platoon, which is Cold Commandos. Those guys move up, sorry, not Cold Commandos, Mason's Marauders. Those guys are all the infantry guys, armed with heavy bolters as well as flamers. He does a quick advance move for them, as well as the Commissars located with him, Judge Darko, as well as the platoon leader as well. So they kind of move up to where that forest is, trying to kind of sweep over to deal with the threat coming their way at the same time. At the same time, he also activates Cold's Commandos, which is his 2nd platoon. Those guys are all armed with guns, as well as the 3 last cannons within those units, and all those guys kind of turn to the left to face up Nihilus as well as my Kill Team crew out. And I realized I might have made a mistake sending my forces in so quickly because those are 3 last cannons that are perfectly designed for killing high toughness, high armor units like my Dreadnought, which could prove pretty bad as well. He also moves up his, I believe that's Mega Man's crew, that is his special weapons team of 3 plasma guns. He moves them over to kind of face the kill teams coming their way. He also moves out his platoon leader Drake, Judge Drake, as well as his 2 fire support officers, Judge Hersey and Judge Anderson, and kind of moves them away from the objective area so that way they got clean lanes of fire and start taking out my guys. Here's a close-up of his 2nd and 3rd platoons maneuvering over to deal with the forces that are coming their way from the right-hand flank of them and getting ready to engage my forces, which looks pretty painful because I might have dropped my kill team and my Dreadnought in a world of hurt. And here's a close-up of his right-hand flank. All he did is he advanced with Judge Gosling up to the top of the MCI chemical work tower, so that way he can give direct orders to his sniper teams for the one-hit wonders. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. And it's also at this point in time that my buddy King Khalifa decides to use a couple of his command points, dropping down to 2 command points. He decides to use a 3-point command point ability called Fire on My Position. And what ends up happening is whenever one of your units gets killed off in close combat, they can basically call an artillery barrage called Fire My Position. So what he decides to do is call in the fires onto where Commander CheapSkate used to be. It causes D3 mortal wounds for every unit within 4 inches of that target that got killed. As you can see, Kill Team crew out is now effectively cut in half. I lost my biker as well as one of my Deathwatch veterans who was also armed with I believe it was a a storm shield as well as a power maul, I believe that guy had, and he got killed off as well. I still have Sergeant Cruad. He's armed with his combat shotgun. I also have my Deathwatch veteran armed with a frag cannon as well. So, my black shield armed with a heavy thunder hammer. So that was pretty devastating to see that happen as well. And because I'm fighting against Imperial Guards in the shooting phase, the very first thing that happens is that my buddy King Khalifa starts activating all of his platoon leaders, giving out commands. So the very first command he gives out is that Judge Gosling gives the reroll ones to wound ability onto the one-hit wonders, so that way they can get a better chance of wounding Watch Captain Artemis, because that's who he plans on shooting with those sniper rifles. He also takes Judge Drake and gives out the order to reroll ones to hit for his Mega Man's crew, which is the 3 guys armed with plasma guns, because they're planning on targeting Nihilus, my dreadnoughts, so that's pretty intimidating. And Judge Mason and Judge Cole, the 2 platoon leaders, give out their orders to both the Iron Sights as well as the Killjoys. They give them the move ability, which instead of shooting, they actually advance another 12 inches forward as well. So these guys are kind of closing the distance between themselves as well as my kill teams, and that's pretty frightening as well. So we get on with the shooting phase. For the rest of it, for the most part, most of his shooting was pretty much ineffective. All of his last guns, they really didn't do much of anything. Those guys are not really meant for killing much of anything. They're about as helpful as flashlights in a combat situation. So because of that, no wounds were really taken off. However, what really hurt me was the special weapons as well as the heavy weapons that all the teams were carrying. It took a combination of plasma shots from the Mega Man's crew as well as the last cannon shots from the Mason's Marauders, which are located on the top of that tower, that was able to finish off Nihilus as well. So that part was pretty brutal, watching him just getting killed. The clutch that really killed him off was the artillery barrage that was given by the Master of Artillery. Managed to secure those last few mortal wounds. That was enough to kill Nihilus and just kind of wipe him off the planet. He did roll to explode. He did roll a 6, but nothing was in range for him to explode, so because it doesn't cause any damage really. But aside from that, though, not really much really happened. Like I said before, most of the last guns weren't really wounding anything, so because of the remainders of Kill Team Crew is still there, so that's kind of nice, but everything else just kind of flubbed for the most part. So because there is no charge phase or fighting phase and no morale phase, because my guys don't break, so they kind of stood their ground for Team Cruad, that pretty much rounds up turn number 1 for the Astra Militarum. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 and we roll for initiative. And that leads up to a double turn for my buddy King Khalifa. So we go directly to the Imperial Guard move phase. As you can see, he starts moving forward with his squads, heading over to intercept my forces here on the left-hand flank. As you can see, he moves up the members of Mason's Marauders, which is his Colt's Commandos, which is the maneuver element of his 3rd platoon. So you can see that the Killjoys as well as Iron Sights also kind of merge together. He does spend a command point in order to combine those 2 squads using an ability called Combined Squads. So now that's a huge unit of 20 troops, so that's kind of deadly as well. He also advances forward his platoon leader, Judge Colt, as well as his Lord Commissar, that is Judge Darko, to catch him as well. And he also runs up his the Cotter guys, the jury, which is Lemonhead's crew, right behind that force as well. At the same time, he just kind of pretty much keeps all of his forces pretty much where they're located at, because at this point it's all about defense for him as well. Over here on the top of the screen, you can get a pretty good picture of his Mega Man's crew, as well as his fleet officer, artillery, master of artillery, as well as Judge Drake getting like a nice little L-shaped ambush to kind of open up on the remainder of Kill Team Cruad. And here's a close-up of Colt's Commandos getting ready to come at me. At the same time, he also spent his command points to consolidate both the Iron Sights as well as the Killjoys into one single squad, so that's pretty terrifying. So with no psychic phase, we go directly to the shooting phase, and once again, orders are given. This time, he gives the ability to the one-hit wonders to reroll ones to hit, because he didn't manage to hit anything last time, so he wants to start sniping with those sniper rifles against my character models, which is pretty deadly. He also issues out the order first rank fire, second rank fire onto the newly consolidated Killjoys Iron Sight squad. So because of that, they are within 18 inches of my kill team. I think it was kill team Kroll, which is the most kill team that I have. So because of that, these guys will get double the amount of rapid fire they get with their last guns. So that's also pretty scary to face. Meanwhile, Judge Drake as well as Judge Mason give the ability to reroll ones to hit for both the sleeping dogs on the top of the tower there, as well as to the Mega Man's crew. Those are the Special Weapons Squad Armor 3 plasma guns, because they didn't manage to hit him very much last time, so they're planning on using that to kind of help them out as well. So in the shooting phase, it took all the plasma that basically melted off what was the remainder of Guillotine Cruad. So because of that, that kill team got eliminated off the table. And I'm starting to realize that maybe deploying that kill team with Nihilist was a really bad idea, because I kind of dropped them right in the middle of all this pain just for a quick kill, and it didn't really do much for me. So that part was kind of sad. I also forgot to mention that they also killed Brother Chaplain Cassius as well. They used twin last cannons in order to do that from the two of the infantry squads in order to reach out and kind of touch them. So that part was kind of sad as well. And after all that huge amount of rapid fire that came from the Killjoys as well as the Iron Sights, they were only able to kill one of my kill team members, which is the Space Wolf kill team member, who was carrying a bolt gun as well as a chain sword. So not much really happening there as well. Unfortunately for my opponent, King Khalifa, the one-shot wonders also missed as well. So because they were unable to kill or even put a single wound onto Watch Captain Artemis as well. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Deathwatch. And I decided to go with the attitude that vengeance will be mine. So at this point, I decided to kind of go against my original plan. Originally, I was planning on assaulting the right-hand flank against the MCI chemical work towers to take that objective. Now I'm starting to realize that that plan's not really going to work out, because 1/4 of my force got wiped out because of just bad maneuvering using that teleportation ability. So the very first thing I do is I teleport Kill Team Kroll, because they have a Terminator there using emergency teleportation, and I move within the 6 inches close to the center deployment area where my center objective is located at. So because of that, now I've secured that objective, and that's going to help me out as well. It also puts me within good range to use my melted guns as well as heavy flamers and assault weapons against that newly formed consolidated squad. At the same time, I also advance forward with Watch Captain not advance. I just move up 6 inches what I do. The normal movement allowance for Watch Captain Artemis as well as Kill Team Dothros as well, so that way they can lane in some long range fire with their bolt guns as well. My plan here at this point now is to sweep left to take out my kill teams, take out the platoons on the left hand side and take out those infantry squads. Hopefully what I can do is then secure the objective at the center of the battlefield, secure objective number 1 on the very far left hand flank in my area, secure objective number 4 at the MCI chemical work with kill teams like Kaon, which I move forward 6 inches so that way they can start shooting as well, and then that way I can control up to 4 objective areas if I can get one of my forces to come back to secure the objective on the top of the MCI water tower in my right hand flank. And that's pretty much the idea I kind of went with when I decided to take this option. So here's a close-up of Kill Team Kroll as well as Kill Team Dothros and Watch Captain Artemis getting ready to bring the pain down onto the Cold's commandos and hopefully take those guys out. And here's a close-up of Kill Team Zakaon as well as Apostolori Gaius getting ready to put some long-range firepower onto the top of the one-hit wonders on the top of the MCI chemical towers right on the right-hand flank. In the psychic phase, I'm able to use Fury of the Ancients as well as Smite to kill off 3 members of the one-hit wonders. I managed to kill the 3 last gun carrying operators of that squad, so drop that squad down to half strength, so that was kind of nice. And in the shooting phase, oh my god, the shooting phase. It was absolutely devastating for my buddy King Khalifa. I managed to kill 14 of the 20-man squad that was right there. The only thing he has left are his 2 heavy bolters as well as his 1 flamer and his 1 grenade launcher. Just the amount of damage I was able to cause with my shooting against Imperial Guard was absolutely amazing. I'm just surprised at how much damage these guys can do against toughness 3 forces, so that part was absolutely amazing as well. I might be able to break these guys just in the morale phase, but at the same time though, I need to play aggressively. I do need to cover a lot of ground, so pretty much my plan is to charge forward with either Kill Team Dothros or Kill Team Kroll directly into that unit to finish them off, so that way I can start securing objectives on my left hand flank. At the same time, I was able to finish off the last 3 members of the one-hit wonders as well as Judge Gosling as well. A couple of my shots managed to kill off the rest of the one-hit wonders, and the remainder was what finished off Judge Gosling, which is pretty awesome as well, which means that this area is now secure for me to take that objective and to get myself some victory points as well. During the charge phase, I charged forward with Kill Team Kroll and managed to engage with the members of Cold's Commandos with my kill team, so hopefully I can take those guys out in close combat. I'm not expecting these guys to put up much resistance for that matter. And as you can see in the combat phase, my guys had no problem just killing those last Imperial Guardsmen to the last man, and right now they're staring down the barrel at the Lord Commissar, Judge Darko, as well as Lieutenant Cold, the Judge Cold, the Lieutenant himself, for this platoon, so that part was kind of nice as well. So because I pretty much destroyed the forces, there is no need for morale phase. We go directly to the top of turn number 3 and we roll for initiative on that one. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Deathwatch. As you can see, I used a command point, my very last command point, in order to steal that turn as well, so that way I can get like a little bit of a double movement and take advantage of the situation as well. So you can see, the very first thing I do is I run up with my kill team Kroll, move him directly to the left-hand side of the battlefield to secure objective number 1, which is in the middle of the tank farm for the MCI Chemical Works. At the same time, I also advance forward with Watchcat Artemis directly to the center objective right in the middle of my battlefield as well to secure that objective. And I also send kill team Dothros. I also move them up 6 inches towards the center to the MCI Chemical Works tower, so that they can start laying down some fire at both platoon leader Judge Cole, which is the platoon leader, as well as Judge Darko, which is the Lord Commissar as well. At the same time, I also advance forward with kill team Zykaon directly towards the MCI chemical tanks on the top right hand side, and I also move back Epistolary Gaius, he's kind of off frame there, back towards my right hand corner to secure that objective too. So at this point, I'm just trying to take advantage of the little breathing space I have and secure as many objectives as possible. Here's a close-up of kill team Kroll getting ready to secure objective number 1 on the left hand flank of my deployment area. And here's a close-up with kill team Dothros getting ready to put some long-range fire onto Judge Cold as well as Judge Darko, as well as Watchcat Artemis securing the objective in the center of my deployment area. Meanwhile, my right-hand flank, here's a close-up of Apostolary Gaius getting ready to secure objective number 3, which is located in the far right-hand corner of my deployment area, right on top of the MCI water tower there. And finally, here's a close-up of kill team Zykaon getting ready to secure the objective number 4, or on the top of those MCI chemical tanks on the right-hand corner of my enemy's deployment area. So with everything being out of range for my psychic abilities, we don't have any psychic phase. So because of that, we go directly to the shooting phase. And as you can see, kill team Dothros had no problem whatsoever just wiping out Judge Cold as well as Darko as well. I don't care who you are, there is no tolerance for frag cannons with assault mode, 2d6 shots that automatically hit, as well as melta guns as well. So because of that, that unit just got wiped off the face of the planet. So that was kind of nice as well. Since I'm not really in range to charge anything, and because there's no close combat phase because I didn't charge anything, there's no morale phase, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 3 for the Imperial Guard. Alright, so we go directly to the move phase for King Khalifa. As you can see, he decides to advance all of his forces. He pretty much vacates the entirety of that center structure on the left-hand side, that triple-decker tower, sends both the Sleeping Dogs as well as the Pelagos Land Kings as well as the Jury Riptor's crew right down at the bottom. He also starts advancing forward also with his 6-man special weapons squad armed with the 3 plasma guns as well, and also advances Limited Head's team forward as well to start engaging my forces here on the left-hand flank, because he's realizing now he needs to secure objectives as well, so that way I don't beat him in victory points. Here's a close-up of Mason's Marauders, which is the 2nd platoon, getting ready to move out from that tower, getting ready to sweep across my left-hand flank. He's also got a point, he's got Limited Head's crew as well taking point, as well as his special weapons crew. He also sends in his fleet officer as well as master of ballistics, of our artillery barrage, or the artillery master guy. I forgot the guy's called. He sends both Judge Anderson and Judge Hershey directly to the center of the deployment area to secure the center deployment as well, so that way he can get that objective to add to his victory points as well. And on top of the triple-decker tower, he leaves Judge Mason there to secure the objective for objective number 6 in his deployment area as well. In the shooting phase, he does give the orders move with Judge Mason towards his the Riptor's crew, which is another unit of 10 jury members as well, to kind of close the gap, as well as give the move order to the Limited Head's crew as well, so that way they have like those 2 squads starting to fight on my left-hand side. He does give the command ability over to his plasma gun to special weapon squad to get bonuses to reroll for 1s to hit, but unfortunately for him though, he just kind of flubbed his rolls, wasn't able to hit any of my guys because the trees kind of providing cover for my guys. So because of that, he was able to hit any of my troops at all, so that part was kind of nice as well. And since he didn't charge because all of his guys advanced and there's no close combat morale phase, that pretty much ends turn number 3. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 4 and we roll for initiative to see who goes first. Alright, so continuing on the move phase, I managed to steal the initiative on this part, so the Deathwatch troops, as you can see, I moved forward a little bit with Kill Team Dothros, giving them closer range with their assault weapons against that unit of the jury from members of Mason's Marauders. I also move up Watchcat and Artemis a couple inches away from the objective. He still has to remain within a couple inches of it in order to control it, but at the same time move up a little bit closer so that way he gets better odds of hitting with his rapid fire ability on his bolt gun for his Hellfire Extremist as well. At the same time, I also send up and advance the rest of Kill Teams I can to the top of those chemical tanks on the top right hand corner, so that way they secure objective number 4. I also do an advanced move for Epistolary Gaius as well to the top of the water tower on my right hand flank, so that way he secures objective number 3. So now I have objective number 1, objective number 2, objective 3, and objective 4 in my control, so that's really helpful as well. Here's a close-up of Kill Team's Kroll as well as Dothros getting ready to engage the members of Mason's Marauders and hopefully take those guys out as well. Also in the bark right-hand corner, you can see Watch Catamar Artemis landing some long-range support with his Hellfire Extremists. And here's a close-up of Epistolary Gaius on the top of the Chemical Works Tower, the water tower here on the right-hand side, securing objective number 3 and netting those victory points for me. And here's a close-up of Kill Team's Akon getting ready to securing objective number 4 and netting those victory points for me as well. And since I would pretty much skip the psychic phase because there's nothing within range of Epistolary Gaius in order for you to use his psychic abilities, so because of that we go directly to the shooting phase. And as you can see in the shooting phase, there's an absolute slaughter here on the left-hand side. Kill Team Kroll was able to kill 7 members of Limit Head's crew, so because there's 3 of those guys left over, just from the amount of casualty that was caused during the morale phase, those guys will probably break as well. On the right-hand side, though, Kill Team Dothros just finished off Riptor's crew like it was nobody's business whatsoever. Those frag cannons hitting at 2d6, automatically hitting, and having such high strength and toughness, man, that thing is a killer, and just obliterate those guys right off the bat as well. So that part was just absolutely awe-inspiring to see that take place as well. So that pretty much makes the shooting phase of this part. And to add insult to injury, I decided to charge forward with Kill Team Dothros directly into that 6-man firing team, which is Mega Man's crew, which are the 3 guys armed with the 3 plasma guns. They do try to overwatch, but unfortunately though, he just couldn't roll 6s of his life dependent on it, so because of that my guys close a distance without taking any losses. So with the charge phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. And Kill Team Dothros had no problem wiping out what was the remainder of the little 6-man firing team from Mega Man's crew. It was an absolute slaughter just watching my Deathwatch guys just kind of chew through those guys like it's nobody's business. So with the combat phase over with, we go directly to the morale phase. And as you can see in the photo, the 3 members of Limit Head's crew also run to the hills because they just watch all their friends just get blown to pieces by superior firepower from my Deathwatch group. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for the Imperial Guard. And as this is pointed out well, my friend King Khalifa decides to call the game, decides to kind of give up because he realizes that if he keeps on sending his troops towards me, I'm just going to massacre them, and I could be able to control all the victory points at this point by controlling all the objectives. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that directs us directly to the end of the game. We go directly to the after action report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Alright folks, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn from the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for the longest war, Warhammer 40,000 battle report number 12, and it being a victory for yours truly. So let's go ahead and talk about the victory points real quick. In the end, I managed to secure 9 victory points in this scenario. I got 1 victory point for slaying the Warlord, killing my enemy's general. I got 1 victory point for line breaker because I had troops deployed in my enemy's deployment area as well. I got 1 victory point because I rolled up an inferior objective, so that was kind of sad. However, I did manage to secure 6 victory points for controlling 3 of the objectives as well, so that was kind of nice. My buddy King Khalifa, however, he managed to secure 6 victory points. He got 4 victory points for having the superior objective, so that was kind of cool, and he got 2 victory points for holding 1 objective, so that was kind of nice as well. For my losses, I did lose Brother Champion Cassius, Nihilus the Black Shield, as well as Kill Team Cruad, so that was kind of sad. King Khalifa, on the other hand, managed to lose Commander Patricio CheapSkate Denarius, his general, Judge Fear, the 1st Platoon Drake's Destroyers, the Jury, Limited Head's crew, 3rd Platoon Colt's Commandos, as well as 4th Platoon Gosling's Goons. In the end, talking about this game, playing with objectives and command points totally brings a totally different element to this game. Up to this point, my friends and I were just kind of fighting each other to death until one guy broke, and it was totally different using these command points as well as objectives to make that happen. I really enjoyed using them. It kind of brought this kind of new kind of X factor that kind of makes it feel like you're playing for keeps. You got random things that can kind of pop up and kind of mess with you if you're not really careful as well, so those command points are pretty important. At the same time, the objectives for this is also pretty awesome because it brings like another depth and sophistication to the game. Instead of just kind of running around and just mindlessly trying to kill one another, you're actually trying to fight for different parts of the battlefield, and it kind of does give it more of a strategic kind of use to this game as well. In the end, what would actually help me win this combat of this game was not so much killing the number of Imperial Guardsmen that I was killing, but rather I controlled the majority of the objectives, and it was kind of different for me kind of playing with objectives in that part. On the flip side, however, playing Deathwatch in such a scenario was very, very difficult for me to play against that. I felt like my forces were really spread out. Didn't really have much of support from that, guys. The only thing that kind of saved my kill teams at this point was the fact that I had an arsenal of weaponry for my kill team that they packed into combat as well. Also, I'm not going to lie, the teleportation ability for the Terminator unit and Kill Team Kroll was a clutch kill that kind of won me this battle. It allowed me to deploy my forces near to secure an objective and got me closer to securing my left-hand objective, which was enough to push me over for winning this game as well. I was able to secure 2 objectives because of that ability, and I think I might run in and rethink how I load up my kill teams just so I can have more Terminators and I can do some more teleportation madness as well. Losing Kill Team Crewad, Brother Chaplain Cassis, and Nihilus was also pretty bad as well. I think the next time I'm not going to be as aggressive with those guys and not, you know, deploy them right in the middle of my enemy's backfield. I did that for a shock and awe tactic, but yeah, while it was kind of cool, once the shock wore out, there was no real awe factor because my opponent just shot my guys to pieces. So I think next time I'll keep those guys around as a quick reactionary force, deploying them when I need to in order to kind of take care of some holes in my game. At the same time, this was a great game. It was an awesome opponent to play against. I'm looking forward for the rematch as well. As always, you guys, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is available to us always. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and Gwogger.com for all the latest and greatest about our hobby. That's good to do for this one, you guys. You guys stay classy. We will catch you on the next one. Peace out.